We hear a lot about methane flares, and usually if you're hearing about methane in the atmosphere, it's just been poured into the atmosphere. A flare means that there is a concentrated enough amount of methane that you can actually burn it. And ideally, you would never release methane into the atmosphere. So flaring is the best thing we can do if there's no other option and there's a very high concentrations of methane. We burn it and turn it all into CO2. Now, the efficiency of that can change quite a lot. So when you see a flare, sometimes they're really burning cleanly, other times they have a lot of black carbon. Ideally, we'll have enough to consume most of the methane, because methane is much worse of a greenhouse gas in the atmosphere than CO2.
We see these types of Bitcoin and blockchain operations wondering how they're going to be part of a net zero future. And they have an opportunity to be a first mover when it comes to moving to zero carbon electricity and really help us to drive the power sector down to net zero.
There are other companies and entrepreneurs looking to reduce the environmental impact of mining cryptocurrency. For example, there's Autonomous, which only uses solar and wind power to mine currency. There are also other companies that only mine currency when there's excess electricity in the power grid, making sure that that produced energy doesn't go to waste. Today we're going to be talking to Easy Blockchain, which is preventing greenhouse gases from getting into the atmosphere while turning a profit in the process.
When we first were pitching to oil and gas companies, all what we heard was nothing. They were like, what are you guys talking about? Like, Bitcoin thing? Like, what is that? Easy Blockchain is a technology company that works with energy companies, helping them to utilize their wasted energy with the help of Bitcoin mining and high-density computing. So Easy Blockchain installs mobile data centers to process transactions for Bitcoin mining in the oil fields while capturing wasted gas, which is being burned into the air. My partner has some experience in oil and gas business, and he said, look, there is wasted energy that is in oil and gas sector. There's flared gas. What if we're going to utilize that gas for electricity, and we're going to bring this crypto mining units to the oil and gas producers and use that electricity? So I was like, all right, let me research that. We needed to understand how we're going to capture the gas, what we're actually going to do with that. We put a few small proof of concept for oil and gas customers, and they were very happy. It was working. The demand was so high that we needed to build our own line of manufacturing for mobile data centers to be able to supply enough mobile data centers for oil and gas customers. But then we learned that oil and gas companies, they would want to participate in profit sharing. A big part of this business, of course, is power generation as well. And since we couldn't afford as a small company to purchase power generation assets like gas electric generators and turbines, we had to partner with either generator rental companies or with oil and gas companies themselves, because they usually do have a spare generators on their field. So that's how we were matching their idle assets and wasted energy and our mobile data centers with cryptocurrency mining equipment. So the project in North Dakota right now, the problem we are resolving for one of the producers in North Dakota is that they have 500,000 cubic feet of gas being burned, and because of that they cannot continue their drilling. During the oil production, there is associated gas that comes from the reservoir, and since there is no infrastructure where to put that gas, it has to be burned in order to keep producing oil. Instead of burning natural gas into the air, we use that gas to generate electricity with the help of gas electric generator, and that electricity is being used to run high-density computing in mobile data centers and other applications such as Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining, yeah, it uses a lot of power, but hey, we're utilizing that side effect as a tool to do something else and help the environment. And everyone benefits from that because we're reducing CO2 emissions and VOC emissions.
One interesting thing that's being explored by groups like Easy Blockchain is actually using stranded gases. What groups like this are saying is, why don't we take that wasted energy, just being burned and put out into the environment, and why don't we use it to actually produce a good that we want? And so that's the theory there.
Mining cryptocurrency is often criticized for not being worth the environmental harm that it causes. But companies like Easy Blockchain believe that they found a win-win solution that can make mining natural gas a little more green while making green for themselves.